Thank you for accepting to offer us this interview. Would you please tell us about your activities in Iraq and Kurdistan region? Is it your first time here?
I've been to the Kurdistan region and to Iraq many times indeed. I was in Baghdad about 2 weeks ago. I'll be in Baghdad in another 2 weeks. And I visit different corners of Iraq constantly. But I'm particularly fond of being here in Dohuk province. It's a wonderful province with some fantastic people here. And I'm always very happy and manage to do some productive work here.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a politician, so my principal work is political. But I also chair a very big charity, very low cost, very special charity called the AMAR International Charitable Foundation. And AMAR specializes in health and education. And we find and support local professionals. So AMAR has a team of about 2,000 people in Iraq, and they are all sorts of Iraqis from top to bottom of the country, left to right, of different types of Iraqi, different ethnic minorities of Iraq, mainstream, not mainstream, and of different faiths of Iraq. So it's an exciting team, and they're all very positive and highly productive.
It's an extraordinary work that you do. In the last years, everybody was talking and still talking about a crisis, refugee crisis, IDP crisis in general. How do you see this? What is your perception about crisis in general, and how does it apply to this region?
I think that there are continuing crises just by virtue of human nature all over the globe. And it just is a moment when the crisis hits. What most people want is a calm and peaceful life, so they can develop their own talents, their own family, their own villages, and their own futures. And I think that's what we as politicians have to work to create. We have to serve the people by giving them a peaceful future in which they themselves choose what they want. And therefore opportunities must abound. And I'm hopeful, since that already exists in different parts of Iraq, in the south, for example, particularly, and in Najaf and around a number of different places in Iraq, Babylon, I think it's very likely that this will emerge out of the current conflict that is going on in and around Mosul. I'm very optimistic about the future of this region.
We all are. What would be 3 main priorities that you think that are to be targeted at this moment?
At this moment, it has to be ejecting Daesh, ISIL, from Mosul and from all the villages that they have previously occupied. And then the absolute priority must be to recover those villages, those towns, everything in them and the city itself, so that life can become normal again for the inhabitants. Those are 2 twin priorities that are the utmost first priorities of all.
Yes. Who should do all these things? Who is the owner of the action?
To me, as a politician, the owner of the action is the citizen themselves. But they can't do it alone. The forces against them are too big. So they need friends, outside and inside. They need good government, they need members of parliament, they need local authorities. And they also need outsiders who they call in themselves, not outsiders who pile themselves in and interfere, but they need their friends from outside who they want and ask to come and help. So it has to be a team effort, but led, in my opinion, by the citizens.
By the citizens. Talking about friends, outside friends, how friendly do you think it is European Union and European countries now towards this region particularly?
I think in the modern world it's all about blocks and groups and also bilaterals. And if you look here, for example, in the northern region of Iraq, and you will find Germany is very helpful indeed. I hope that you will find Britain is very helpful indeed. You'll find the Nordic countries are doing a huge amount, and you also find the USA, in spite of her elections and non-elections and busyness and everything in a presidential election year, the US is hugely friendly here. So you have a very good bloc here. And then you have some other nations as well. I've just mentioned 2 or 3 that I'm most familiar with and who I know are making major efforts here to be as helpful as possible, both military and other.
Yeah. But still it is just a group of member states. Do you see any effort from the European Union at the institutional level? What would be?
The European Union is undoubtedly assisting. In the AMAR Foundation, for example, the European Union has been supportive of a magnificent program on religious tolerance. That's a very successful program, grassroots, right from schools upwards in all the provinces in the south. And now we hope to extend that program over the whole of Iraq. It's a very, very successful program, entirely owned and managed, of course, by everybody Iraqi, and by the religious leaders themselves, and by the ordinary people and children and adults. So the ownership must belong on the ground floor. It must be with the people themselves. Institutions such as the European Union will and can be as supportive as they possibly are able to be. The European Union is a great organization.
So as I understand, you say that it is the civil society actually that should drive all this action. In your opinion, how developed is the civil society now in Kurdistan region of Iraq, for instance?
I didn't say civil society.
Yes, you did not
I
say.
said the citizens.
The citizens.
And that is different from this modern phraseology of civil society. I see the phrase civil society as somehow dismissive. It's pushing them out. In a way, it's not the same as the government or the officials, just civil society. But to me, as a Briton with the Magna Carta behind me, the citizen is king, or the citizen is queen. They are the most important people of all. That's not necessarily civil society, which seems to be a sort of a conglomeration of people you can't otherwise name, you can't otherwise identify. So, after all, if you think about the citizen, you think about the family, which is the basic unit of society. You think about the tribe, you think about the village, you think about the town, you think about the farm, you think about the church or the mosque or the temple. So that's what the citizen really reflects. In the Magna Carta, which is our great constitutional document of the 13th century, 800 years ago, we've just celebrated its 800th anniversary, it is the citizen himself or herself who is king. It is they who have the rights to gather wood, the right to kill a deer, the right to do the fish, the right to carry on their business, the right to have a home. It is in that person.
So if we would be able to develop a concept of queenness and kingness, I don't know, maybe there is, by English is a second language, so I don't manage it that well. But if we would have that concept, how developed that would be in the citizen of the Kurdistan region of Iraq? So how long does the citizen from here have to walk towards that ideal concept of
citizens here are very powerful already. The Kurdish people are very, very strong, and all elements of Kurdistan are very strong. I've spent yesterday with the Yazidi people, very strong people indeed, despite these terrible things that have been happening to them. And I've just been with the Dohuk governor, another hugely powerful individual. And so Kurdish people are very, very strong indeed. So it's not a question of waiting for that. It's a question of listening to them and working out what they want and moving ahead. But you have to remember that why you want government in the first place is to keep safety. And at the moment, safety is paramount. So you want a government to defend you from an internal enemy and from an external enemy. That's the government's top priorities. Keep a safe place for you, the citizen. And at the moment, that has not happened because of Mosul, because of Daesh, because of the Nineveh Plain, because of ISIL. Therefore, the absolute priority of everybody in government must be safety and futures for those who've been massively had their lives ruined. They're just casually called displaced people. It's infinitely more than that. They're people who've been beaten up and pushed from here to there and absolutely had their lives destroyed. So the government's duty is to make a safe place for everyone and to help those who've suffered so drastically get back to normal again. The citizen's job is to push the government to do that, because that's the government's job.
Do they push?
Not enough.
Not enough.
As a politician myself,
Yes.
I believe in the citizen. The citizen is the key. He or she is why I'm in politics, is to help that person have a better life, have a more exciting time, be able to have a greater future, and to develop their talents and their family's talents, their village, their town, their city, and their nation, and the rest of the globe. That's why I'm in politics.
I would have another question. So you are saying that you are coming, you are here for a lot of time and you are doing a lot of work and your organization is really present in different places. Is there something that you have learned out of all this experience and experiences and you would like to share with us? Something, I don't know, really simple, even, what would that be?
I'm really not sure. I've been very lucky to have such an interesting life. I always want to help other people, and becoming a politician has given me the chance to do that. So I don't have anything to share, except I'm looking forward to meeting you. I hope there's some new friends here around the corner. That's what I'm looking forward to. The excitement of knowing more of you.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would want to add, or you think that I should have asked and I have not? But
I don't think so. Are you happy with what you've asked? Do you want to ask anything again or differently?
I was preparing different questions, but the energy came differently, so I think it's great.
You're happy with that?
I'm happy with that, and of course, this is such a short time that it's not possible to get into the core of all, or at least part of what you might share,
Yes.
because I'm sure that you can tell much more than I would have ever asked. I don't know. That's the.
Well, I tell you what, when I come back, we'll do another one.